dragging them out at this time.
Right.
Regard to Russell Brand, I agree with almost everything he says. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan. I mean, I think it's great to see him out there, supporting the mums on their housing and all that kind of stuff. More power to him. I wish more artists would get out there. You know, they always seem to comedians now who are political rather than songwriters. So more power. The thing I disagree with him is his analysis with regard to voting. Mm-hmm. I can see his frustration, and I understand that there's no one there he wants to vote for. Yeah. But in order to get to the position where there will be someone to vote for, that can't be done by disengaging. That can't be done by not getting involved. We've got the thing to do. If there's nothing there that you want to vote for, you've got to push for a system that allows the thing you do want to vote for to come through. And so, in that, you have to make some, politics has always been the art of compromise. Yeah, I wish I could have said it another way around. When was the last time, you voted for a party that you were 100% happy with everything they stood for?
I think it's kind of choosing to live by a realistic or look for a realistic solution or a moralistic or idealistic solution. Because I would completely argue that if you don't believe in a system, then it's a valid argument. And again, I think the way the Russel has put things previously has been inaccurate. But if someone came up to me and said, I choose not to vote because I don't believe in the current system, therefore morally engaging in it is against what I believe in. Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. It's not a realistic one potentially, because that would work if everyone in England decided to go, we don't believe in democracy, we're all walking away.
The thing.
As they're not going to, you need to have someone fighting against what they are going to do and what are within that system, I guess, is what you're saying.
Because what that analysis mistakes, I don't believe in the system. If someone says that about voting, they are mistaking the system for the method by which we change the system. Sure. Democracy is not the system. Yeah. It's the means by which we change the system. Yeah. It's like saying, getting in a car and saying, I don't believe in the steering wheel. Yeah. The steering wheel isn't the car; it's the thing that drives it. Yeah, and unless you're it's fine if you have no vision for a better system. Yeah. But if you do have a vision and you feel passionately about it in the way that Russell clearly does, and many people who follow him does, that not engaging in this year's election, I think is a real mistake. There are some years where you might think to yourself, well, that was fucking pointless, and I've felt that myself, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But this ain't that election. This election, as there are so many weird variables in this election, to not put your shoulder to the wheel on this one, I think it's a real mistake, particularly for young people, because in some ways the idea that politicians don't listen to young people, so I'm not going to vote, is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The reason they don't listen to you, mate, is because you don't vote.
So
if you voted, if as many young people voted as people in my generation, then you might get some attention. So and I just want to say this, listeners, I speak as someone who didn't vote when he first had the chance because he didn't think there was any difference between the political parties. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
It's a weird laziness I've had. I think it is an excuse.
I was that soldier.
I think the problem that Russell had initially was he justified people's laziness. So it's all well and good if you genuinely have studied these parties, or if you've voted previously and felt right. I've been there and tried this, rather than sitting at home going, I don't believe in it. But I think Russell's interesting because I think we had him on the podcast, and he's a mate. But again, I don't agree with everything he said, and I didn't agree with everything he said there. And I think he's interesting because he's developing his opinion, and he's learning, and he's changing, and he's not as strict on we shouldn't vote. He's saying, well, that was a spur of the moment thing, and I think there's a lot where there's a lot that you can pick apart with him and slag off and say is wrong, but I also think there's a lot that he's going, I hadn't considered that, and he's learning and developing, but in the public eye.
He's done such a body swerve from where he was. Yeah. When you think of the way he kind of came through as a sort of druggy, sort of like, shag, happy geezer. He's kind of grown up in public. Completely. And I feel, when I've listened to him on Newsnight and on Question Time, and he's feeling his way through these things, and he hasn't really You know, he should have nailed that guy who said to him on Question Time, why don't you run for office?
Yeah.
There's a real simple answer to that, because people say it to me all the time.
Yeah.
Politics is too important to be left to politicians, mate.
Yeah.
Why should I have to be a politician to talk about politics? It means life and death to me.
Yeah.
So I can talk about what I want to talk about. You shouldn't let someone throw it at you like that.